Dear viewers, welcome with you in this new episode of our program, Dialogue Horizon. In this episode, we are going to be in touch also with the economic file in everywhere. People speaking about the economy and speaking about the boosting the economy in every country, which is related to the political stability. But for now in Sudan, thinking about openness, so the government has tried to make this in a good way by opening the organizations outside of the country to find a solution for the Sudanese economy. With me here inside the studio is Dr. Yassir ElObaid. Welcome with you.
Thank you very much for being in this program, Dialogue Horizon, and we are happy to be in this Sudan TV, and my regards to all viewers of Sudan TV.
Okay, and also your co-guest is Mr. Nahar Osman. Nahar, welcome with you.
Thank you very much for having me here. I am glad to be with viewers.
Yeah, but let me start with you, Mr. Nahar. According to what I said from the beginning here, it is about the openness of the country and to search for better solution for the economy. We know that now the world became like a network, which is related to each other. People benefiting from the technology from United States of America, from China, some kind of experiences from British. And now the country needs this kind of openness. After the political openness, we have economic openness that benefits from the people. And according to that, we have now a scholarship. How do you look to the Sudan openness to all over the world?
Thank you again. As you know, the world now, it is a global village, a small village, not like before. And thanks for the technology and thanks for the communication revolution in the last few decades. For that reason, it is very easy to reach everywhere in the world instantly. And for that reason, now the boundaries, the physical boundaries, are not having meaning like before. That's why one of the reasons that the globalization is reaching everywhere, and everybody and every country must be ready to be a player in this international arena. For the Sudan, and through the national dialogue, and in the national dialogue, one of the files, one of the important issues that the people in the national dialogue raised about the economy and how to put the Sudanese economy in the way that can be a competitive economic in the world. And I think through the national dialogue and through also the recommendation in the national dialogue, there is a roadmap how to address the political and the economical problem in Sudan, and through that to open the Sudan for the outside world through the investors, through the funds, and through the loans from outside. At the same time, to make the Sudanese economy competitive, to export our products here in Sudan. For all that reason, I think the time now in the Sudan, it is a time that we can work in having a good economy based also on the participation of all the Sudanese citizens, and that's through the recommendation of the national dialogue.
Okay, so Dr. Yassir, if I remain in the same context of the openness of the country, as you know that from outside people need more, and the sense of the official now, and the sense of the professional people here in Sudan that think that we have to go outside of the country and to think about more partnership, more development, more engagement, more cooperation for the sake of the country. How do you look to this?
Well, I think so. We are in the different world now. This is not that world since the Cold War. The world has been changed now in different completely after the globalization, after the collapse of the Soviet Union, after America has become militaries alone in the world as a power. Things has been completely changed. Now we are in a different, we are in a different time. We have seen even the international power is being changed from place to place. Now Russia now became again coming very strongly now at this time, and trying to play a new role. in the country. In fact, especially in our regions, in Africa and in the Middle East, they have been playing a new roles in the, and this is why even the world itself even is changed. And even if we go to the financial institution, the big one, as Nahar said, things has become completely different now. We are in different world because also we are being affected by different problems, the civil war and the sanctions and whatever. Now all the world now they know very well the Sudan, the importance of Sudan at this time because of the location of Sudan, because you have all the area now. It is in problems. Only Sudan is a little bit stable in the area between its neighbors, and this is why the international community itself, even like Russia, like America themselves, even and other power like France, even themselves, even they are around Sudan. Even this is why Sudan is going to play a very big role and is going to be a big player in the region, as we know that.
Okay, so Mr. Nahar, I think that after this stability, after your colleague said about the openness and about the globalization and how the people can benefit from the globalization. But I think that we have to go in cooperation with those. We have to go in a balance with all this globalization, because he mentioned Russia, for example, China, for example, and other countries like United States of America. They all need these potentials to be, but still they fear about the economy. They fear about the stability of the country. For this, what do you think about this political transformation and economy? It is a balance.
Yeah.
How we can make propaganda to the country that now all the potentials now, and we have stability now in the country.
Yes, indeed. Sudan, security-wise and stability-wise, is a very stable country, even by the standard of the world, international standard. Yes, there is some conflicts, but if you see Sudan and compare it with some other conflicts in the region or in Africa in general, Sudan is stable. And also for the economic boosting, you need the stability. And the saying says that the capital is very coward.
Yeah.
And that is also true for a country like Sudan. But the important thing in this global village of the world now, that to have a relationship, a steady relationship, a balanced relationship, don't fall in the camps play. Put it always on focus that the benefit and the interest of the people of Sudan. And I think if you analyze the Sudanese relationship with the outside world, we have a balanced relationship. For example, we have a good relation with China, with the BRICS state, Brazil, Russia, and Korea, South Africa, and we have also not a very bad relationship with the United States of America, and we are working on it now also by the day. And with the European Union as general also we have a good relation, and even with our surrounding countries in the African world and in the Arabic world. So to boost your economy, you have to have a good relationship based in mutual interest of the both sides, and we are working in this way. And I think the very important thing to have a good economy, also to have also a political stability, as you mentioned. And through the national dialogue, I repeat it again also, through the national dialogue we put the base for political and economical stability.
Okay, so Dr. Yassir, if you go that you are economics, and you know that the economy theory is different. A country like Sudan needs some kind of specific economy treatment, a specific surgery, because the data, as you know, that it's damaged by the system, only damaged, like infrastructure, for example, by the sanctions of the United States of America for more than 2 decades. For now, I think that the way out of these sanctions, that means stability, and the stability, that means you have to search for help from outside the country as a deposit. How do you think about it?
I think so. After the civil war, Sudan also is been involved in the sanction, which is one of the, as you said, that 2 decades, almost 20 years in the sanctions. And that one also affected so much the economic, and it affected the stability of the economic. And also, by the way, also if you need to do proper economic, you have to enhance the security and the peace. And that one also, it really cost Sudan so much time, especially after Southern Sudan is gone. Also, Sudan really at that time, before that one, also Sudan is really achieved so much and very proper and one of the good growth in the world at that time, almost more than 10 years or 1 decade. And stable growth. That one almost it reached up to 10, between 7 to 8 to 10. That one of the highest in the world on the growth. That one also it gives Sudan support a little bit, and this is during the oil time. And after the Southern Sudan gone, also is gone with all resources of the oil, almost more than 75%. It gives Sudan so much problem, and Sudan tried to solve that problem with some programs like the third. Three program, the 3 years program. That one also is just for the stability. Also, that its role only to do the stability, and it did part of it. It came to the 5 years program. Also now it's still it's going to finish the end of 2019, and that one it gives Sudan so much problem and try to solve that problem after its action being left. After sanctions being left, also Sudan trying to attract some aid and some assistance from outside, and try to attract the investment, the foreign direct investment. As we know, Sudan, because now is a land of opportunity, from the oil resources, from water to the agricultural lands, and for everything, for the even the
so you said that to attract the people. Also. You said that to attract the people. Sorry for interrupting you. Attract the investors from outside the country, but we think that if the donors. Where the donors here to come to Sudan to give to that, and who's responsible from that? Because now Sudan affected, as you know that the infrastructure may be damaged at average of maybe 90%, and he lost the aviations, for example, transportation, and many things.
We are in different world, financial world. Since that time of the Bretton Woods, international and IMF and whatever, since that time, after this time, because ODF, the ODA, it is the official development assistance. It is not like before. So before you have to go to the donors, they give you that ODA, but now things have been different. The model of the finance, international finance, completely been different now. Yeah. Most of the international finance institution, they're not like before. Even after the crisis, the economic, the financial crisis, 2008, it affect all the economics in the world, even the international financial institution. From IMF and World Bank, and even another institution also the same way. But the ODA, the official development assistant, it is not being now. It is being reduced so much in the world now. Yeah. This is why Sudan now is not going to go for that type of assistance and that type of loans. Sudan should go to the FDI, and this is one of the models, a new models, and which one of the best models for Sudan itself. Because as we know that Sudan from 1973 up to now, it's been affected by the debits, as you know very well. And this is why he has to go to the FDI, foreign direct investment. This is the best model at this time. And there is a new model also besides that, like financial markets and whatever. Also, it is one of the new models. But the last model, the old models, it affects Sudan so much with the debits and with the problems and debit fatigues and the debit services, and really it gives Sudan a lot of problems. We have now many problems, like 16 billions. That's the official loans, and the rest almost more than 40 billions. That is debit services, which is so much.
Yeah. So, Mr. Nahar, according to what your co-guest said, that it is about the searching for partnership, for a smart partnership. And before that, as they mentioned that, how we can make the infrastructure now to absorb all this partnership coming from outside? Because when you said investors, that means I have my good infrastructure that may work with this potential of the investment that boosts the economy. But Sudan now searching for who make this partnership to build the infrastructure, for example, in agriculture, industrialization, transportation. This is the first step. What do you think about that?
As Dr. Yassir mentioned, the old model of financing from outside world is now changing, because Bretton Woods institutions like the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, and the World Bank now are not doing their work as before. And also put in mind that that's the work of the era of the Cold War. After the collapse of the Soviet Union, now the world is different from before. And also, before only the IMF is governing the world, and you know, also the demonstration going and down the IMF and so on. But now there is also other pools of power. As I mentioned, also the BRICS countries now, and the Asian tigers, and somewhat, and also the Gulf countries here. Now the people and the countries that they have the expertise, the know-how, and the financial resources to help and to invest, because it is a mutual benefit. It is not a help like before, a help for helping, but now to benefit also them. Because they will get also some benefit from helping other country. And the FDI, the financial direct investment also, now like the model of the boot, the economical model of the boot also. And I think what we need, the infrastructure of Sudan, it is not that bad. Yeah. It is true that we need to enhance it to meet the international standard, but now, if you look at some of the outside investors who is investing now in Sudan and exporting directly from here to outside world, there is an infrastructure in place. But we have some potential and some resources that are very rare in the world now, like the land, the water, and also the workforce. We need more to invest in the knowledge economy. That's one of the challenges that I think Sudan is now facing. The other thing also, we didn't negotiate well the departure and the cessation of the South Sudan, because the cessation, notwithstanding the revenue that we missed by the going of the South Sudan, also the burden of the debt that we get from the cessation. The 46 billions debt of Sudan, it is not only for this part of the North Sudan. It is all for the Sudan as a whole country. We didn't negotiate that. And it is a high time to renegotiate, I think, for the decision maker in the country to renegotiate, because that's one of the obstacles that make us didn't get money from the international official bodies of funding. And without solving that problem, I think, because also it is not fair for Sudan to have after the cessation of one country to two parts, for the one part of the country to get the whole the burden of the debt. That's one of the problem. Also, I think we have also to diversify our economy internally and externally, and also to have a good relation with all countries that now are doing very well, and we are going that way also with the BRICS country and with the South American countries. And I think it's a potential to have Sudan, because we have things that are not in the other countries. Our geographical location also, it is unique, because we can reach the European market, the Arabian market, and the African market, and the Asian market. Some people now import goods from South America and see the whole way from there. We can do it here for the Asian market, and for the European market, and for the Arabic market. So, and also we have the vast land, and it is an arable land also that is very fine, and we have resources in water and also electricity. We have to invest this real infrastructure of Sudan that we need to work on it.
Okay, so your colleague mentioned the depths of Sudan, and also you mentioned that it's about the depths. How we can find a solution to the debts of Sudan, to reduce it, for example, or to drop it down? Because the country with debts, I don't think that can go forward.
According to international terms and conditions of the debt release, I think so Sudan is fulfill all the conditions, from the HEPIX, from the Paris Club, from London Club, from all the donors before, and the whole the debtors. This is, but the things, it seems like some political smell on that.
Yeah.
But Sudan, according to HEPIX agreement, Sudan is completely fulfill everything around that. Still, Paris Club is still following Sudan with another too much, is adding some problems on that. Should be, at least the negotiation should be with the donors directly, but unfortunately, according to the international law, you have to go through the clubs, the Paris Club and London clubs and others. Still, we are negotiating on that. And that one, it is really giving Sudan the economy itself so much problems, and it stop for stop for us all the finance. So you cannot go for international finance. You cannot go for international institution until you solve that problem of the debit. Debit should be at least, we know that, as I mentioned, 16 billion that the official loans, that the original loans, and the rest, almost more than 30 something, that is part of it. It is debit services.
Why this all debts not being after the South Sudan session? Why all these debts beared by Sudan, not by Sudan and South Sudan? Because South Sudan has some resources like oil, for example, but Sudan without resources, and the debt now Sudan bearing the whole debt. Why that?
I think as Nahar mentioned, that is really, that's one of the problem on the agreement, on the Revash agreement. We should put that one of the conditions of the cession of Sudan, because this was Sudan and South Sudan was one country, and that time the debits for the loans has been taken for Southern Sudan and for the North of Sudan. Still, the problem, I think so, it should be we should go for the international law to look for ways how can we take part of it to Southern Sudan.
Yes, your suggestion that this kind of thing that politicized, this kind of move politicized.
It seems like that. It seems.
Yeah, it seems like that. But what's the legal steps that Sudan should take to go forward and to remove this debt?
Removing, still, I think so, according to the international economic agreements and law of the loans between Sudan and the others, the debtors, should be released. But according to the other things, like the sanction is part of it, like political issues, like we talk about Sudan, terrorists, whatever. That is not it's not involved in that problem. That's something completely different. I take a loan and I have fulfilled all the terms and conditions with you. You have to release me from that problems. Otherwise, we should not even continue with that problems. But we have to still continue on the negotiations. Still, we have good relation now at this time with the international community, with USA, United States of America, and that one also we should also go for that as one of the biggest supporter for and financer for IMF and World Bank, and they can talk to the others donors if we, because still we have with them some interest and benefits with Sudan, because Sudan is still USA and America needs Sudan in the region. It needs Sudan of its resources, because Sudan, they know very well at this time, because they've lost the oil, they cannot lose the rest. They cannot lose the agriculture. They cannot lose the agriculture. They cannot lose the minerals at this time, and they are in need of that, because also they have problems of the economy now. As we know, Wall Street is not Wall Street before. After the financial crisis, Wall Street has some problems, and America has also some problems, financial problems. Even America itself has a lot of debts from China and from another countries. Even Russia itself also it has problem of debts, and even all the European unions, all of them, they involved in problems. Yeah. But that's another question. All of them, they are involved in debts. Yeah. Who is the creditor?
Yeah.
That's
So,
that's
so
another question.
let me pose this question to Mr. Nahar. It is about the International Monetary Fund, which now your colleague said it's some kind of as if out of game, as if not delivering any assistance to the Sudanese government, as if there's something inside this, and the legal things, all legal conditions that fulfilled by Sudan.
Yes.
How do you look to this, and how Sudan can push forward a legal demand to the International Monetary Fund in order to take his right?
Yes, we have to go this way because you know there is some political string attached in the treatment of Sudan, but in the last year, even United States of America says Sudan are making very good progress in the 5 tracks of the involvement of America in the human rights and the peace process and in the political transformation and in the combating of illegal migration and all these things. I think this is the string attached to the Sudan. Now we have to remove them. And one of the things also Sudan has to look for arbitration and mediation on the problem of the external debt of Sudan post the cessation of South Sudan. And we have to renegotiate this again because we cannot bear all this burden for us alone because it was one country. And I think also the International Monetary Fund also has a role to play because Sudan is a major country in the area, and also we need the help of our friends. Even the United States now, if they need a stable and a good ally that can combat with them the terrorism and the illegal migration and also the stability in the region, Sudan is one of the countries that can also contribute in the stability of the region. For all that reason, I think we have to actively engage the international community and among them the IMF to renegotiate the debt problem and also to have a new financing for Sudanese to boost our economy.
Okay, so Dr. Yassir, if you want the economy that is sufficient for all in Sudan, that gives all the chances, we have many boundaries, but we need how to remove all these problems, many things. Now banding the economy and banding, making the Sudanese economy to go in a backtrack, not forward, despite the potential of the resources, despite the readiness of the people. And this is affected even the ideas of the academics, for example, and it's demolished the studies that been now posed on the table. How we can find and how we can get this in the table again, and how we can go forward in a sufficient economy.
Okay, that's a very good question. In fact, we have to touch the roots of the crisis and the roots of the problem. You know, we have to analyze the problem from the roots, and we have to go to the policies itself also. We have to be serious on that one, and also we have to go for, as you mentioned, the research and the study, because now we are in different world. Now these things are not like before. If you want to talk like the traditional agriculture, there is no way for that. You don't have a place on that in the world now. So you have to go look for the modern agriculture, the modern irrigation, the modern whatever, the technology. You have to go for that. So if you want to go to the agriculture sector, because the agriculture sector is very important in Sudan, because Sudan has all that potential at this time. As if you want to go for the economic, how to treat that one to go for to remove the economic from that problems. Also, you have to go for the policies, the proper policies for the whole economics. I think so. This is going to lead Sudan in to the development. And if you want to develop the sector, as you mentioned that also before, about the infrastructures, we need a huge infrastructure to boom that to develop the economy. We have a lot of examples in the world. If you go to Brazil, South Africa, India, those it's a BRICS, one of the BRICS countries. Those before they have more problem than us. Like Brasilia has more problem of debts than us, and more problems of that with the international community. It's also India and South Africa. And South Africa also is being affected by sanctions during 1980 something. And now this is one of the biggest countries in the world and the economy, and one of the emerging countries in the world now. It's not difficult. It's not that. There is no problem of that. We have all the potential, more than even than Brasilia, than South Africa, than China, than India. And that one, it needs from us to study the problem properly from the roots, and we have many opportunities at this time, even from the international community now. As you know, that we have very good relation with Russia, and we have very good relation with China, and we have very good relation with European Union, most of the countries now there, and we have good relation in our region, in the area. That one, it gives Sudan a lot of support at this time, and we have to go for investment, direct investment, because this is going to attract a lot of hard currency to the country, and going to attract also the technology to the country, in the agriculture, in minerals, in oil, or in all the sector, even services. Now one of the important sectors in the world now, the service sectors. Also, we have to go for that one. We have a lot of potential in the tourism industry. As we know that Sawakin is one of as you said, that this is a century opportunity of Sawakin now. Is going to be the biggest land of tourism in Africa. So we have a lot of potential. We have to go for that one with the proper policies, for the financial policies, monetary policies, the total policies for the economy, and also the branches called politics for agriculture, mining, minerals, oil, all of that.
Okay, so Mr. Nahar, I think that for going forward for a healthy economy and addressing the problems of the economy in Sudan, it's something which is very good, and it's going forward, because putting in mind that many conferences now being held here in the country, for example, an animal resources also conference, another conferences, and also the ambassadors conferences, which is address the economy and the way of how we can go forward in a healthy economy in the future, but it's still some kind of boundaries. No implementation of this recommendation of the economic conferences. How do you look to the implementation, because the time is running fast?
Okay, before that, I think one of the things that Dr. Yassir mentioned as the service economy. The service economy now, the major economical power in the world are based essentially in the service economy, and that's like the communication sector, the tourism sector, the travel sector, and the other sector of the service. And we now in Sudan also, the communication sector, it is contributing in the GDP. Like I think like a third of the GDP come from the communication sector alone, and we can boost that more than that now. And that one of also the areas that need more attention and need more focus from the decision makers, the political decision maker, or the economic decision maker, because the new economy is service economy, and that all of over the world, not only in the Sudan, but that is the future of the economy. That one thing. The other thing, to boost the economy of Sudan, we need also to simplify the regulations regarding the investment, so either the external investments or the internal investment. Also, the regulation of the simplification of this regulation. That one of the key areas. We talk too much about that, but on the ground we need to do a lot of work in that side, and also to boost the productivity. So productivity in Sudan, it's I think it is not in the international standard in the different sector of the economy, and also we have to also to improve the technology that we work with it in the pastoral sector and the agricultural sector, and that need also what I mentioned before, that the economy of knowledge, and how to boost also the knowledge of the people of Sudan, even the simple agriculture person or the pastoral person, we need to boost that. All these things, we need to do it, and through the regulation from the state to help to simplify and to attract the investment from outside, and also to attract, because the people, when they put their money, they need to get the revenue of it. And without with a complicated regulation, it is very difficult to attract investors from outside Sudan. That's one of the things that we have to work hard on it. And the other thing also to boost our infrastructure. And we need also, because the geographical location of Sudan, that one of the major tools of the Sudan. I think we can benefit from that, and we can also have a free trade area in the Red Sea, and even here in the center of Sudan. And we can also boost the commerce on the border with neighboring countries, like with Chad, with Libya, even with South Sudan. And that also because we have a lot of products that we can import, can export, and we can get benefit from that, either as money or other products that we need in Sudan. For all that reason, we have to be simple. And I think also now the currency of Sudan after the liberation, it is like it is not official liberation of the currency, but now it is almost in the real value of the currency as international standard, because now the black market and the official market, it is almost balanced, and that is good for the economy, because that will stop the capitals from fleeing the Sudan, and also that also can help to bring capitals from outside. That I think one of the things. In the short term, it will be very painful for the country and for the citizen, but in the long term, it will have a good and a positive impact in the whole economy.
Okay, Mr. Yassir, your colleague said the donors and to attract money from outside the country, but the donors now need conditions in Sudan, and who's responsible from the donors, and how can I attract the donors to go forward? Because one who need to donate me, that means I'm your friend, for example, the friendly countries that can help Sudan for many projects. And if the template here inside the country is ready, for example, organizations working for these private sectors that attract the donors to come inside, or even the official sectors, how do you look to this?
I think that the donors, as we mentioned before, the donors as the old model, that one it's not there is no way for that one at this time. But when you talk about because donors now, they come with a very difficult condition. I mean, I don't advise of that. But when you talk about the friends countries like Emirates, like Gulf, like whatever, those we have with them special and with the financial funds of Arab funds, international Arab fund institutions. Those they have special treatment with us. They are doing with us very well now at this time in the water, in the infrastructures. Also, they're doing well with like Kuwait fund, Arab fund, and like Abu Dhabi also. All this we have some special with them. That one is a good, and they give us also good time of that. Only also in the deposit, like last time also we have some deposit investment from other friend countries. Also, that one is one of the models. Now it can help little bit in our problems of the economic problems, but the donors as such, that one I don't think we can advise of that at this time. We are looking for FDI, and we are looking for international. We are looking for financial markets, which is one of the finance models, new models, which can help a lot in our.
So if you want to nominate for this. For fund direct investment in Sudan, for example, who can be nominated for Sudan for now?
I think so. China, one of the good friends on that, has so many projects with Sudan, have so many investment with Sudan. Russia also is doing well, especially in exporting our products, and we are importing with them some technologies in minerals itself, in mining. That one is, we are in need of that, and that one it also is going to transfer for us money and hard currency, and going to save that one, and also going to transfer technology from their sides, because they're going to train our people internally in these hard sectors in minerals, and going to also to give us some training on that. Going to do the capacity buildings of our people and our experts internally, and that one gives some of the, like this type of countries, and maybe some countries like India also, it has we have some experience with them in FDI, but many countries we can work with them. We can do with them some investment. Even like Belarus also, we have so many projects on that, and this is one of the part of even Australia now. We have seen also Australia. This is the first time in the history Australia to come and invest in Sudan almost 11 billions, which is 4 billion for investment in mineral sector, and the 11 is going to be for investment in another investment. It's going to be as a deposit in our investment in our central bank. That one also it is part of the, because they have knew very well now Sudan is booming, and Sudan is doing well in that sector of minerals, and they're doing well also in another sectors. Also, they're going to do investment in agriculture, because they are very advanced on that, and they are advanced in animal resources also. And that one, it gives us a good opportunity in how to train our people, how we can transfer the technology from them to here. But many countries, I think so, they can do with Sudan in the foreign direct investment. And also we are in need of financial markets this time also, because that's a new models of financing at this time.
Okay, so Mr. Nahar, I think that according to my guessure or suggestion, it is about the tension between the international community and the Sudan remain very high. Political tension, exactly, that led other countries to still punishing the country, because the lack of confidence, the opportunities now is very open for the country to go forward. But it's still the suspicion between the other countries that Sudan is not fulfilling some kind of political, not playing well in some kind of political arenas, and it's still some kind of moves about human rights, about religious, about that. Do you think that that's the reason that led other countries not to come inside the country?
That from some countries, but now, as we mentioned before, the field is open, not like before that if you are pariah state you can get nothing. But now you have a lot of alternatives, and that's the good news for Sudan. And also from the side of the most countries that trying to put Sudan in a corner, United States of America, they lift their sanctions, and that is so as gesture for their allies that Sudan is now working in a good term with them, and they have to heed that also. I mean the American allies, and that from one side. The other side also, we have the good fortune that some of our friends and from some of our brothers in the Gulf countries helping us with the deposit, and the deposit also boosting the economy, because that stabilize the currency, the local currency, and also give you a reserve of international currencies, and that also when you went to get loans from outside, that also can help you, and you can use the deposit also to invest inside in some projects, because that the deposit from the Gulf countries that are not string attached at one thing, and without also benefit, I mean without rate of benefit or money from it, and also without also precondition to, or earmarked, as economical people say. For all that reason, I think the deposit from outside, and also now the foreign direct investment also helping Sudan. It's very much because we have also good relation with Turkey, and 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago, there is also some of the businessmen from Turkey want to invest here in Sudan directly in billions. And also now from Australia we heard, and also we hear some countries of the Gulf countries also are firmly standing with Sudan. And the thing that I want to emphasize here, that if the Sudan can do everything it wants, because now the world is not the old world. Only if you want money to get from IMF, no, it is not like that now. It is there is a lot of alternatives, and there is a lot of emerging economics and emerging powers, and that they are looking to help. And also a very important point, that is the South-South cooperation from a south country, south of the south hemisphere of the world. I mean the countries like in the Brazil, Russia, Korea, India, and this country are now helping each other, and that is the benefit of all of them.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So, Dr. Yassir, I think that it's good to speak about that, but the industrial sector, which boosts also the economy, which take all these raw materials to be manufactured here in Sudan and to go outside of the country. I think that it have to be reviewed.
Should be, because you know the industrial sector is depending on the agriculture sector, and depending on oil sector, depending on minerals sector. Those going to provide the raw materials. Like animal resources sector is going to provide the raw materials for the industrial sector, and minerals are going to provide all raw materials and all the tools for the. They should go for a new, because this is we are in the world of industry. We are not in this industry and technology. We are not in the traditional world now. We have to go for that, because as we know, Sudan is now producing almost more than 100 and something ton of gold, and producing also another minerals like iron, whatever, and many minerals now in Sudan is being. And industrial means, by the way, it doesn't need a lot of technology. Industrial means so one of the easiest manufacture. You can manufacturing with a small technology, with a local technology. When you can do that, it's not there, but it needs just capital to do that investment in that side and that sector.
Okay, so the time is not against us in this episode. I would like to thank you, Mr. Nahar, Osman Nahar, for being with us in our program. I appreciate your time, and also Dr. Yassir ElObaid for being with us in our program, Dialogue Horizon. And for you, dear viewers, that's all you have in our episode, Dialogue Horizon. Until we meet again, thank you for watching, and goodbye.